on, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today, and I'm sorry I missed you last week. If you caught our impromptu live bottle kill night last Wednesday, congratulations. They're the only people that will ever see that video because I deleted it because by the end I was mumbling my words. But everybody knows this is Maker's Mark 46 Cask Strength. Before we get into the video, time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. Spicy. So that's right, as I mentioned, we had a little bit too much fun last Wednesday. I killed 4 bottles here. I drank a little bit of Stag at the end. I drank a little bit of stuff before. It was just let's just say Thursday wasn't the best day of my life, and we got through. We survived. If you caught that, I appreciate you. I talked to a lot of new people. I appreciate you guys stopping by the live. It was a lot of fun up until the point that we probably should have gotten off at 9 o'clock when we called it, and I learned a new lesson. Stick to the plan. End the stream at 9 if you're supposed to end it at 9. But let's get into this Maker's Mark 46 Cask Strength. I put Maker's Mark up against Weller in a King of the Wheated. We did Maker's Mark 46 Cask Strength versus the Weller Foolproof. This lost to the Weller Foolproof. We don't have Weller Foolproof on the ranking sheet yet, so I'm curious to see where this one will fall, and then hopefully we'll get to the Weller Foolproof after March Madness Bourbon Bracket Single Barrel Edition, which is coming up this March. This Sunday is Selection Sunday. Make sure you follow me on Instagram because we're going to do a lot of cool giveaways for that. In the meantime, click that like, click that subscribe button, and let's get into this one right here. You know the rules: price, taste, drinkability. We always start with drinkability here on the channel just to see how much ethanol kick this has. This comes in at 110.3 proof. This is your original Maker's Mark Cask Strength 46 wheated bourbon. It is the 70, 16, 14, 70% corn, 16% wheat, 14% malted barley. We're going to talk about kind of the variations that Maker's Mark has here at the Bourbon Bomb of the Week. But for right now, let's stick to this one. Let's take a sip of this for 110.3 proof, see what our drinkability is like. So this definitely has a kick to it. It's not overwhelming, but it's also one of those things like for a Cask Strength, to only be 110.3 proof is kind of weird to me. Most of my Cask Strength barrel proofs, they're up in that 120, 130. Even the Jack Daniel's Coy Hill, which is pushing 140 for me, 140.2 I think. So it's kind of like on the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to the Cask Strength. It's not overwhelming, but there's definitely a Kentucky hug, a little bit of spice to this. If you're not looking for something that's super smooth like a lot of the other Maker's Mark products are, this does have a little bit of a kick to it. So we're not going to give it the greatest score. I'll give it an average score if you ask me. It's not terrible, but at the same time, I think there are a lot of other bourbons in this proof range that drink a lot easier than this. So let's get this like a 7.63 when it comes to drinkability on this. And up next, as you know, that's going to take us over into taste on this. And taste on this, I think, is where this shines. Now, while the drinkability isn't fantastic, it's not too much to overwhelm the flavor profile on this. And the thing that I like about this the most is it offers you a spiciness that a lot of wheaters don't. So I've drank in a lot of wheaters, drinked. I don't know that word. Can somebody just tell me what that is? This is like the 4th video where I said drankin', and I don't think that's correct, but I don't know. I digress. I have had other bourbons, other wheateds before, and they're just straight sweetness. Now, I love a sweet bourbon. I love a lot of bourbons when they are sweet, but I also like when they offer me something else, which is why I love ryes, because you can get that sweetness from the corn and still bring it up in that spiciness from the rye. This one, though, has a way of entering in some spice on it. Some cinnamon on this for sure. The vanilla, the caramel, it's got oak on it for only being a 6-year bourbon. It's definitely got some good oak on it, and we're going to talk about that again during the Bourbon Bomb of the Week and how they can offer that to you. But then it's got this cinnamon spice to it, which I really love. It's almost like a Big Red, the way that when you chew on Big Red bubble gum, is that what it's called? Big Red? I think it is. You chew on that and then you inhale, or you eat a mint, you chew a mint up and then you inhale and it gives you that cold feeling down the back of your throat. That's what I get on this when I drink it, and it's kind of a different experience from a lot of other wheaters that I've had, and I can't say that I hate it. That being said, the flavor notes, again, vanilla, caramel, oak, a little bit of honey on this, and a little bit of citrus that I get along with that cinnamon. So it's definitely giving you a lot of different flavors, and it's balanced pretty well. There's nothing out there that there's a few bourbons that I've had where there's a very good flavor profile, but one of those flavors just punches you in the face, whether it be the oak or the spice or the sweetness or something is just too much in there. Maker's Mark does a very good job of balancing this out. This is Beam Suntory, so same company as Jim Beam, but that doesn't really matter. It's neither here nor there. Maker's Mark is doing their own thing. but it definitely has a way of being a very smooth, easy roller coaster ride, right? And I love that ride. I love being in my ups and my downs and the sweetness and the spice and all over the place rather than just kind of like a streamlined ride, which is nice. Nobody's going to complain about it, but it's not quite as fun as the up and down roller coaster. So for this, I'm going to give it a pretty good score when it comes to taste. Let's give it like an 8.57 when it comes to taste on this. And last but certainly not least, we're going to get into price on this. And the price on this bottle is $60, and we always talk about comparables. So let's just bring up a few to mention. We have Larceny Barrel Proof, $50. Fantastic bottle. Just had the B521. Absolutely loved it. We're talking about like Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs, $60. We've got the Wellers that we've already talked about in that $50, $60 range for like an antique or the foolproof. Obviously, secondary is different, but we're not talking about that right now. You've got like a Stag Junior at $60. The Jack Daniel's Coy Hill was a little bit more, but that was like a special release. So for this to be $60, I can't be mad at it. It's right in the price range that it should be at, and it doesn't try to be anything more than what it is. That being said, the proof on this is a little bit low, like we mentioned before, for a cask strength, so I am a little bit upset about that. I'm not, again, I say all the time that I'm not a proof hound. I just want things to be proofed where they should be proofed, and if you're putting yourself as a cask strength or a barrel proof, I'm more used to that 120, 130 mark personally. Not saying I'm going to love it at 130. I'm not saying this isn't great at 110. It just seems to be like when we just named everything else, they're definitely higher when it comes to the proof. So I'm going to put this as a pretty good score on price. Not the best score. Let's put it somewhere in the middle between like good and great and give it like an 8.37 when it comes to price on this. But listen, we're going to finish this. I'm going to add these scores up. We're going to send it over to this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week and learn a little bit more about how they get Maker's Mark 46 cask strength compared to all the other Maker's Marks that are on the market. Cheers. So the question is, how do we get from Maker's Mark to Maker's Mark 46 cask strength? And the answer is we're missing a bottle in the middle here, which is Maker's Mark 46. Basically, they distill original Maker's Mark by 70% corn, 16% wheat, 14% malted barley. Their claim to fame is they do it in 1,000-gallon batches, which is about 19 barrels. So they make that, they proof it back down to 90 proof, and that's what's shipped off in these bottles right here. Now to get from this to the Maker's Mark 46, they basically sear French oak staves, put it back in those empty barrels, pour that whiskey back into those barrels, and age it for another 2 to 3 months, and that's going to be your Maker's Mark 46, but they proof that back down to, I believe, 94 proof, I think it's 94 proof. So lastly, they take that, instead of proofing it back down, it comes out at cask strength, which is 110.3, which is usually about what they put it into the barrel at, because during aging processes, you can actually evaporate some of the water, which may raise the ethanol. So they proof it back down to the original cask strength, 110.3 proof, and that's how we get Maker's Mark 46 cask strength. What do you guys think? So here's the deal with me. It's interesting how these distilleries can basically use the same juice to create 3, maybe even 4 different bottles just by the aging process, the proof behind it. It's going to open up different flavor profiles, different drinkabilities, all kind of things across the board. But this one's not bad. This came in at an 8.19, which is right around where I think it deserves to be. The FAEO2 came in at like an 8.5. The Maker's Mark Original came in at like a 7 point something. So this is probably right in the middle where it deserves to be. But I'm definitely interested in the future of Maker's Mark. They're doing things like allowing people and groups and companies to come in and pick their own stave project, which we have up here a few of these. This is the Fine Wine and Good Spirits pick. 2 of these staves, 4 of these staves, 2 another. It's just interesting what they're actually putting out here. We have a Banesh store liquor picks as well from New Jersey. So I'm curious what they do in the future for a lot of these projects, because it definitely changes the profile of these bourbons, and a lot of it is for the better. But listen, that's where I'm going to leave you for today. Make sure you check me out on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. We have our Bourbon Bracket Single Barrel Edition coming up. We do a bunch of good giveaways over there, so go click that follow button. If you want to help support the channel, check us out on Patreon. That link is in the description below. Click that like, click that subscribe button. And if you want to come chat with a bunch of bourbon like-minded individuals, check us out on Discord. We're almost at 200 members, and we're going to do a big giveaway over there at 200 members as well. That link is in the description below. So I hope to talk to you guys soon. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly, and stay healthy, stay happy, stay drinking. Cheers, y'all.